Are keywords dead? Search engine has quietly shifted from strings match to things understanding. So if you are not speaking the language of entities, you may be invisible in the SERP. Welcome back to our Semantic SEO course. In the last video, we discussed search engines algorithms, how search engine evolved from string match traditional SEO to understanding semantic SEO. So search engine now understands the contexts, user intents, and entities in the content. As a quick recap of the previous video, we can say that in traditional SEO, search engines were looking for the exact match words in the documents and ranking only the lexically matched documents on the SERP. But after the announcement of knowledge graph, things not strings, search engine has started to understand the intents and contexts from the user queries. Now search engines understand the contexts from both sides, in user queries and in documents of the web publishers, and then try to match the contexts and user intents, and then they rank on the basis of contextual coverage. People search in multiple languages, so to resolve this issue, search engine introduced the concept of entities. What is an entity? An entity is a unique identifiable thing or concept existed in the real world and stored in the search engine's database. The simplest way to understand the concept of entity is any singular item, detectable, distinct, well-defined, and identifiable item that is also stored in the search engine's database. An entity is anything like people, person, organization, a thing, concept, abstract idea, or anything that has some real world introduction or some definition or some meaning and used by humans. An entity is not just a word or phrase. Entity is an identifiable item that has been stored in the search engine's database with the particular identifiable number that is called KGMID. When we search an entity on the SERP, for example, I searched here Koray Tubek Guber on the SERP results. So search engine showed this interface. This is a person and search engine is showing its knowledge panel here. So this is the name of the entity, Koray Tubek Guber. It is a person type and named entity is Koray Tubek Guber, and here it is the label of this entity in the search engine's database, or say in the knowledge graph, that is consultant. So search engine is identifying its attributes, for example, on which platforms this entity has video items, what is the age of this person, from where this person got education, on which social media platforms this person is active, who is this person. So search engine has complete introduction, picking it from YouTube description, and then search engine is showing all the websites or platforms where this entity is associated. So this is an example of a person entity. We will discuss more in the entity types in the few upcoming discussion. So here is the KGMD, how to find it. I clicked on these three dots and then I clicked on the share icon, and here is the link. I searched this link in search bar. Now it will show us KGMID. So here this is the KGMID G11RCY0YK. If we only search this part of URL that includes KGMID, we will reach to this entity because this KGMID is the specific number assigned to this particular entity. So here is again we are seeing this person's knowledge panel. So search engine assigns a particular identification number or mark to each entity. Either it is a person entity, organization entity, a book, a play, a movie, a concept, or anything that has a identifiable or detectable definition or its distinguishable presence that is stored in the search engine with a specific identifier number. So an entity has three distinct properties. First of all, it has identifiable number that I already showed to you, KGMID. And the second feature of entity is labels. I also showed you here label as consultant for entity Koray Tuberk Gubur. And third item is attributes and relationships. What are the attributes of that entity? For example, I already explained it. Entity name is, what is the name of this person? Koray Tuberk Gubur. And what are the websites or platforms where this person is active or associated? So here YouTube video. So here it is a website, holistic SEO, then YouTube videos, then age of this person, then education, and all the websites where this person is active. So all these are the attributes of this person. Let's see another example here. Apple brand. So this is an organization. So here is the brand's knowledge panel. Apple with a logo, and then website URL, then a small description from Wikipedia page, then its affiliations and associations with other entities. So in founders, Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, Ronald Wayne, all these are the other entities, other person entities associated and connected with this organization entity. When it was founded, where is its headquarters, who is the CEO, then stock price, what are the social media pages of this brand. So all these attributes of this entity has been presented on the SERP. So this is the third feature of an entity, that it has some connections, it has distinguishable, detectable, and identifiable attributes. So what is the difference between entities and keywords? The keywords are just the queries from the users who are searching on the search engine. Or you can say that user queries or keywords are the search language of our target audience that they are using to fulfill their needs with the help of search engine. So one query may include single or multiple entities. So an entity is an identifiable unique item, but a keyword may have one or more entities including any other singular context of the user. So there is a huge difference between keywords and entities. Now, what are the types of entities? We generally call it entity types. So what is the main group of entities? For example, search engine has different entity types. For example, person, I am a person, you are a person, and anyone else is a person, but search engine only recognizes that person that has been stored in search engine's knowledge base. So until a person is stored in a knowledge base of search engine, it is not an entity. So let's see examples of entity types. We have seen the example of Koray Tuberk Gubur. Now we are looking at Bill Slosky, an SEO expert and legend, passed in 2022. So we searched for Bill Slosky on the SERP, and search engine is showing knowledge panel for this person. Name of the person is Bill Slosky, label is consultant, and search engine is showing this entity's representative images here, and then YouTube videos of Bill Slosky. Then when this person was born, when this person was died, what is the main website of this person, description of this person entity, and then similar entities here on the SERP, and then all the social media platforms or websites associated with this person entity. Now second example of entity type is organization. So in this organization entity type, individual organizations are combined. So here one brand entity is, one organization entity is Nike. So here is the brand's knowledge panel showing the major attributes of this organization. Then next example is places. So for an example of a place entity or place entity type, I searched for World Trade Center and search engine showed its knowledge panel. So World Trade Center is a place entity and its label is building complex, and it is showing its attributes. Wherever this entity has been mentioned over the internet resources, search engine is showing those web pages on the SERP. So this is an example of place entity type. And the next entity type is abstract ideas or concepts. So I searched for sunlight, and here we have small knowledge panel for sunlight entity. So search engine is showing the information about this entity, definition from dictionary, and then Wikipedia page, and then all the information from various encyclopedia websites, dictionaries, and videos about this concept. Then the next example of entity type is events. So if I search for Pakistan versus West Indies, to show the example of event entity type, I searched for Pakistan versus West Indies. So here is the cricket match result. So search engine showed the small informational map for this event type. So this is the event, and we may have another example for event type. So to show an example of event entity type, I searched for Black Friday 2025. So this is an upcoming event in relation to shopping and sales perspective. So search engine is showing a full knowledge panel with a lot of related information of this entity, that is Black Friday. So first of all, its major attribute, or you can say the most prominent and most popular attribute of this entity Black Friday is date. So when is the Black Friday 2025? So it is on Friday, November 28, 2025. And then calendar, and then all the related attributes and related entities. People also search for recommending Thanksgiving event, Boxing Day event, Cyber Monday, Day of the Dead. So this is the example of event entity type. Next entity type, that is abstract idea. So abstract ideas are also entity types. I searched for quantum physics. So search engine showed its small knowledge panel information from Wikipedia page. So these are the representative images of this concept, description of this entity. This is an abstract idea or concept. So here is another example of abstract idea or concept entity type, Newton's law of motion. So search engine presented knowledge panel for this concept with its representative images and description. So these are the various entity types that are represented through structured data markup in JSON LD format. For individual entities representation, we use person entity type. For companies and brands representation, we use organization schema type. To represent other entities, we have various schema markup vocabulary to show different types of entities. So here the question is, what role entities play in search engines algorithms? How search engines utilize these entities in rendering, indexing, and ranking the websites? So the first step is rendering. Rendering is the step when the crawlers explore your content to understand what is the content on this page. So here they are just exploring your website and trying to understand what information or what data is available on a website or a web page. So in this step, search engines try to detect entities from text, structured data, and media and map them to canonical IDs. So here search engine is looking for either there is any entity mentioned on the page. So when they find entity, they start thinking that what attributes are available on this page regarding this particular entity. So the canonical IDs of entities are the KGMIDs, or unique identifiable number, or an ID assigned to individual entities. We have discussed it already and I showed you how to check KGMID or knowledge graph ID of an entity. So during rendering process, search engine crawlers try to understand the salience attributes, where the emphasis is more and what entities are more influensive within the content. So they check entity salience scores, where is the more emphasis in a single sentence. And then at the last step of understanding a document, search engines try to find any related entities or contextual entities that are available within the content, so that they can understand the overall context of that document. The next step in the search engine's algorithm is indexing. Indexing means storing the documents in the database of search engines. So in the first step, rendering step, search engine has found a document and understood what information is available on a page, what context has been mentioned on the document, what user intents has been satisfied in that document. So after mapping all these information with the help of entities and their attributes, Now in the second step, search engine is going to store that document in its database. That storing process is called indexation. So after indexing, search engine evaluates that document and ranks against the user queries. So here at the second step, when search engine is going to index a web page, search engine checks the nodes, typed edges and attributes. So search engine tries to map this page's entities in the knowledge base and evaluates how and where this page will be stored according to existing entities attributes presence. Or in simple words, we can say they have identified the available entities and their attributes within the document, and now in indexing stage they are going to check where this entity is available in their knowledge graph and where this document will be stored along with the other attributes of that identified entity. As you know, search engines store entities along with the documents. So entity documents combinations are built in the knowledge graph to store the information. What are these entities, where they have been mentioned, and what are the resources available for these entities and their attributes. So in this way, search engine finds entities in the first step of rendering, and then in the second step of indexing those documents, search engine looks for the existing entities stored in the search engine database and then matches those new found documents with those already saved entities. Now in the third phase of ranking a document on the SERP results, when a user searches a query, search engine looks for the available entities in the user query. So this process is called query parsing. In query parsing phase, search engine divides each word of a query and applying multiple algorithms try to understand what this query is about. What are the contexts, what are the user intents, what are the entities, what are the attributes or related entities are available within the user query. So after mapping all these information, search engines look for the same entities, same attributes, same user intents satisfied in the documents from the indexing database, where all the websites related to that entity and those attributes have been stored already. In this ranking step, search engine has two-step process. First step is to understand the entities and attributes from the search queries, and the second step is looking for the same entities and their attributes within the indexing database. Then search engine will match those entities and attributes and rank on the SERP as a ranking search engine results. We have seen how search engines utilize these entities and their attributes for rendering, indexing and ranking results on the SERP. Now we are going to see how to optimize your documents, your web content for entity-based SEO, so that search engine finds the right entities from your content and stores in the right cluster with the right attributes and related attributes. How to optimize your website for entity SEO? The first thing is conduct an entity audit. You need to map your content. What entities are needed here? What are the entities that search engine already knows about? So you need to fit those entities in your content at the right places. So as a second step, you need to map your content around those recognized entities. When you have found that these are the relevant entities that I need to put in my content, now you need to revolve your context around those entities while responding to user intents. And then the third way to optimize your page for entity SEO is to use structured data in whatever format you love, and the most famous format of data, structured data, is JSON LD. So schema markup vocabulary has particular entities and specific vocabularies for those entities. So there are schema types and schema properties. So you need to mention right schema properties for the right schema types according to your page's content. While utilizing entities in your content, you need to place them in the key places. For example, title tag, meta description, featured image name or URL, featured image alt text, in your major heading vectors, for example H2s, H3s, and all these headings entities must also be repeated in the section content so that your heading entities are matched with the content immediately after the heading vectors. So entities have transformed the search. The entities database that started with 500 million entities in 2012 now have reached billions of entities in search engines database. Now Google's knowledge graph is powering billions entities with their attributes. So by focusing on the right entities utilization in your content, you can future-proof your SEO results. So it is a subtle shift from the lexically related keywords and the exact match keywords in the content. Now is the time to optimize your website for the right entities and their attributes. And by utilizing the right entities, you help search engines understand who you are, what you do, and to whom you serve. But wait, there is one more important item here, that is user search intent. When you place entities in your content, this is a half story. The other part of story is understanding why user is searching those user queries. What is the need behind those user queries? So search intent is the second most important item in the semantic SEO, where we try to understand why user is searching this query. What may be the reason of searching this query? So in the next video, we are going to explain what are the user search intents, what are the various types of search intent, how search engine understands user's intent, and how search engine maps your content for singular user intents, and how search engine ranks for the particular user search intents. Make sure you have subscribed to our channel so that you don't miss any of the semantic SEO pillars that we are discussing in our videos. Thank you for watching this video.